PowerPoint, please. Checking to see if we're on live on Facebook yet. Okay, Ami, are we ready?
Are we live yet?
We are. Yes, we are.
Okay, we are live. Hello, everyone. I am so excited to welcome you to Healing Illinois, the sixth and final performance from the Artist Collective on Race, Equity, and Unity. I have been just amazed at the wonderful performances and conversations that we have had in these series. We started back in April with Samuel Hawkins and Jacob Gibson. They are spoken word artists and we broadcast from the Jones Fine Arts Center in Cairo. We've invited thought leaders and influencers throughout Southern Illinois, people that I am terming also culturally courageous, to co-facilitate these conversations. Our first was led by Steve Heisner. We followed that with a performance with international R&B inspirational vocalist Howard Hewitt and our own gem from here in Southern Illinois, two gems, Rhonda Belford and Ziana Jones. That conversation was co-facilitated by Reverend Larry Barnett and also the Honorable Judge Tyler Edmonds. We continued the series with a group from Springfield, Illinois, called The Best of Both Worlds. That session was co-facilitated by the Honorable Joseph Cervantes, who is the state's attorney for the County of Jackson in Illinois. Again, last week was just awesome as well. We shifted from musical performances and spoken word, and we featured visual artists, magnificent art educators, including Robert Ketchens, Desand R., Najar Abdul Muzawir, and Dr. Mike Faris. That conversation was facilitated by the president of Shawnee Community College, Dr. Tim Taylor. And tonight, I'm here with the Honorable Mayor of the beautiful city of Sesser. This is the hardest working mayor, one of which in Southern Illinois. And I'm just thrilled that Mayor Ashmore is with us. In addition to being the mayor, he's a lifelong resident of the Sesser community. He holds an associate degree in political science and a bachelor's in business. Since he was elected in 2013, Mayor Ashmore has implemented many successful programs and in general has worked tirelessly to improve the city of Sesser. This includes a $7 million wastewater program, a Shop Local program, and a downtown rehabilitation program. I had the pleasure of meeting Jason for the first time as a member of the Delta Leadership Network, and we also have a dear, close mutual friend, Attorney John Bigler. So I had an opportunity to really get to know Jason, get to know his spirit, and get to know his heart. As we know, Healing Illinois is an initiative brought to us by a variety of groups, including the Illinois Department of Human Services, Chicago Community Trust, Southern Illinois Community Foundation, and Carbondale Community Arts. And the goal of Healing Illinois is to bring together creative collaborations. And boy, all of these have been just that. I challenged Black artists, or as I prefer to say, Americans of African descent, to work with white artists that they didn't know, and it was a challenge. And these two especially really rose to the challenge, and they have created magnificent art that we're going to have the pleasure of enjoying tonight. So with all that being said, I'm Lynne Chambers, the Executive Director of Legacy Training, Inc., as well as the co-founder, and I'm here with program staff who is doing all the bells and whistles and making it happen. I'm E.L. Russell. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my co-facilitator, Mayor Jason Ashmore. He's going to make a few opening comments and introduce Doreen Ketchens.
Good evening. It's an honor to be part of such a wonderful program and event. I'm truly honored to be part of this and be together here with such great facilitators. Lynn, we've known each other for quite some time now. It's been an honor. It's been a privilege. I'm just really looking forward to tonight's event, and it's just really exciting. Really honored to be part of this. So I'd like to go ahead and introduce Doreen Ketchens. Doreen Ketchens brings the best of New Orleans to every performance. Doreen is famous for playing on the streets of New Orleans. However, Doreen's Jazz New Orleans, her band, has traveled the world performing their joyful, energetic, original, soulful New Orleans jazz in 47 states and 24 countries. Doreen's Jazz has represented the United States on several occasions by teaching and performing for dignitaries and royalty, including 4 U.S. presidents. Doreen can also be found in numerous publications, radio and television shows, including Trim on HBO. She has appeared in commercials, music videos, and movies, including Tyler Perry's Temptation. Doreen's Jazz has managed to establish a stellar reputation, millions of fans around the world, and internet fame with viral videos reaching over 85 million views. We also have recorded 30 CDs and 3 DVDs displaying their incredible music abilities. Doreen's Jazz spreads the culture of New Orleans around the world. All of this and more through God's gift of the streets of New Orleans. Doreen recently performed with the Louisiana Philharmonic, I can't even pronounce that word, at a standing room only concert in St. Louis Cathedral, as well as the mayor's hosting of New Orleans' 300-year celebration, which included clergy leaders from around the world. Doreen Ketchens has changed the way scholars view their clarinets. She has successfully created her own style that blends her classic training with the soul of jazz. Her intense passion gets under your skin and brings you to a new place. Be it gospel, blues, R&B, classical, or jazz, Doreen Ketchens can rock her clarinet on many levels, then sing like a songbird on a sunny day. Doreen has been called many names because she plays like Charlie Bird, sings like Mahala, and has chops and personality of Louis. And it's my honor to introduce and read the bio of Doreen Ketchens.
Thank you so much, Mayor Ashmore. And I have the pleasure of introducing John Windings. John and I, on a personal level, have known each other through high school. I've been an art lover all of my life, and I remember him from his band back in high school when we were in the Beta Club. John Windings is a lifelong member of Southern Illinois, and he's taught music for over 35 years in the area, including Meridian School District, Cobden School District, and he retired as a music instructor from Shawnee Community College in January of 2017. He currently serves our community as a member of the Board of Trustees there. In his air quotes, retirement, he's remained active. He has a music business called TC3 Music Supply, and he enjoys caring for his 15, now here's a word I don't pronounce correctly. Is it Hereford cattle? Or I'll just say that word and you can tell us about it. And also subbing on keyboards and bass at the Badgent Playhouse and the Kentucky Opera. So we have 2 very talented, amazing musicians that we were so happy to bring together. So I'm going to turn it now over to Doreen Ketchens. We've asked her to put on her educator hat as well as a musician and share with us the origins of New Orleans style jazz and the history, and then we're going to hear some fantastic music. So, Mrs. Ketchens, I turn it over to you.
Hello. Man, I am so rusty on this stuff. I mean, it's been quite a while since I actually, did this aspect of the the educational point. But anyway, I tell about New Orleans music from my perspective, and from what I learned. And for us, it has origins that go all the way back to slavery, because back in those days, many of the plantation owners were Christians, and they wanted their slaves to know Jesus. So what they would do is they would designate a certain area of the plantation at a certain time of the day or week or whatever, and they would read the Bible to their slaves. And through the course of reading and understanding these verses, and these slaves, they just, of course, they believed. And it was a wonderful release, because the Bible teaches you that no matter what you're going through at this moment, no matter how bad it is, when you die, you go to heaven and everything's better. So, these sort of camp meeting style gatherings were, very emotional. They were full of music and, testimonials and stuff like that. And through that came this music that was also full of emotion. Now in Louisiana, slaves were allowed to have instruments, and not just cowbells and tambourines and stuff like that, but violins and banjos, and they brought a lot of that, Afro beat and stuff like that to the music. And it became what is basically complex now, that turns into the New Orleans music. And as time went on, what happens is you have this mixture of this historic, African beats, and you have the Caribbean beats, and all of these different things that blend in. Because if you fast forward to like 1865 or something like that, well, in New Orleans was a port town, and the port was like Disneyland. Everything happened at the port. And not only did you could buy things at the port, but the New Orleans is set up in this way. You have the river, you have which is the port, you have the French Quarter, and then outside of the French Quarter you have Congo. You would have Congo Square, where which was a park where many of the locals gathered, and on the other side of Congo Square you would have where a lot of the locals lived. And what happened is these slaves, after these former slaves, after slavery was over with, they would gather in Congo Square because they still wanted to have those meetings. They still wanted to gather and enjoy themselves and celebrate with their beliefs. So they would gather in Congo Square with the drums and, the dancing and all this other stuff, because they're free now and they're celebrating. The dances were very visual, and they weren't doing it to draw a crowd or anything else like that. They were just worshiping. But by it being in Congo Square, I don't know about you, but if I'm walking along the streets and I hear like music or beats or drums, and I don't have any place to go, well, then, I'm going to investigate, and since these drums, the music of these drums would carry, they would go into the French Quarter, and these tourists would come and they would gather in Congo Square, because Congo Square was this place, where lots of, it was a commerce, lots of, you could get anything in Congo Square. You could get produce, you could get homemade remedies, a lot of voodoo practices, you could get anything in Congo Square, and you could see a good show. So, what would happen is these locals would bring their goods. If they had an orange tree growing in the yard, they would bring it to Congo Square. And it was just this cultural mecca. And, the city still tries to bring that into play. And of course, there's, we were coming out of the pandemic now, but before the pandemic, they would have like Jazz in the Park on Thursdays, and they would have, locals come in and sort of reinvent that situation. But that music, at that time, the popular music was the European classical music, as well as the military marches and stuff like that. And these, you had locals that would go down to the port to buy things, because these ships would come down from up north, and before they go back, they'd have to empty. So they'd have all of these wonderful things. They'd have, clothes and housewares and tools, and they'd also have, some military goods that weren't being used anymore. And a lot of those goods were instruments, and they would sell these instruments to the locals. And I mean, the tradition that we still keep going, some locals would go down and, go to a ship and buy a trumpet for 75 cents or something like that, and learn a tune or two, and, go in the French Quarter and put their hat down and, play a few tunes and make some money. That's what we do still to this day, and on the way back home, you pass through Congo Square and all this wonderful music is going on and you join in, so, this wonderful New Orleans music, is a combination of many different cultures, that just came into New Orleans and blended into something absolutely special. And that's basically what we play today. And so inside of the music, the New Orleans music, whether it be, the traditional jazz, or the more African oriented jazz, you still hear many cultures inside of this music, and that's what we're playing today.
Fascinating. Thank you, Doreen. John, you're an educator as well. Do you have anything to add before we play your first song, or as you guys introduced the first song, do you have anything to add? I think, John.
There we go. There we go. I'm sorry. I actually, it's very nice to meet you, Miss Doreen. I have admired you from afar, so it's really great to get to say hey to you. I can't wait to hear what happens here, but let me just say a little bit, because I talk about, over the years, I've talked about New Orleans and the jazz and the impact it's had on American music in my American music class that I taught for 20 years. And one of the things that I find most fascinating by it is how it fed the rest of the United States, and how what was happening down there is going to spread almost like a virus from New Orleans to Chicago to New York. By the time it gets to Tin Pan Alley and they figure out how to make $1 with it, it just becomes something magical. And I get tickled. One of my favorite stories in my music appreciation class is the Chicago style jazz, which is where you had a bunch of, and I don't mean to be funny or disrespectful, but you had a bunch of white fellas trying to play New Orleans jazz in Chicago in the 30s, and how hard they tried to sound like what was coming out of New Orleans, and how they struggled with it so much. And it's just there's just something about the music that comes out, and the soul of it. And I can't think of anybody that captures it any better than Miss Doreen did, and the way she does it. I feel very honored to be here with you guys tonight. I don't feel like I fit in, but I'm going to bring what I got, and it's good to be here with you. Thank you, Miss Lynn, for asking.
It's great working with you too, John.
Thank you.
Thank you. So with that, would you like to introduce the first number that we will be enjoying?
Oh yeah, so we had to, well, I had to learn quite a bit about this technical stuff over this pandemic time. And one of the things I learned was that you can't play together because there's a lag. So the genius of everybody else that knew this stuff before me figured out how to play together. And so John put down these tracks, and then I played on top of them. And at first I, thought, I said, hey, John, I played it and I muted this, and, you could put it together. And he's like, no. just play on top of it. So that's what I did. And I got better at it as the time went on. And we actually put together some songs. And this first one is called Basin Street Blues.
Basin Street is the street where the proud on the late folks lay, down the New Orleans, upon the dreams. You'll never know how nice it seems, or just how much it really means. Oh, I'm glad to be. Oh, yes, sirree. Well, nothing's free, and so dear to me. Well, I can lose all my Basin Street blues.
Awesome. Awesome. Oh my gosh. That's just amazing. Amazing.
That was
So
awesome.
what was the process like other than the technology? What was the process of collaborating with a Southern Illinois master and a New Orleans master?
I mean, it's a universal language, and it's the kind of thing that it's the kind of language you just want to speak all the time. And I mean, for me, whenever I have the opportunity, it's magical, you know, and especially when I get to experience, you know, something different, you know. And he's a pro, you know, so there was really no static of any kind. It's just like he sent it, and I'm like, ooh, ooh, oh, ooh. And so it was really cool. I mean, you know, between the hay cutting, because the man is a busy guy, you know, very talented, but a very busy guy. And you know, he whipped these things out, and you know, I just do. I mean, it's inspirational, you know, and you know, certain things, they move you in certain ways, and you know, I play it different every single time.
Thank you. John, how about you?
Well, for me, the weird thing is there's not a real sound in anything that I did. I am literally doing this recording on the same computer that played all of those sounds. There's nothing real there at all. But as far as the process goes, I'm using Logic Pro, and it's a Mac program. And what I would do is Doreen and I would communicate back and forth about songs, and then I would ask like what style, and she might tell me that particular style. Basin Street was I watched a YouTube video of it being played, and I studied that performance. It kind of seems a little slow for me, but I mean, I literally took the tempo right from the original recording. So I tried to hold as tight as I could to the original recording, because I knew that Doreen would be familiar with it, and I knew that she could grab a hold of it and take it and run, which, by the way, that's the first time I heard it. Doreen, wow, you rock. You are so good. But that's the process that I went to. I just simply got the tracks done. And in my mind, I imagined her playing, and I tried to play when I should and get out of the way when I shouldn't. And that's kind of how it went down.
Jason, what are you thinking? You said you love jazz, and so glad that this is the one that we asked you to be a part of. What were your thoughts and impressions?
That was absolutely amazing. I can be honest with you, besides Sesser, New Orleans is one of my favorite cities in the United States. And I'll be honest with you, I'm about ready to go jump on a plane so I can get down there and hear more of this music, because I just so much enjoy this type of music. Doreen, that was excellent. I mean, just amazing to hear that type of music. I can just sit here. I can sit on my front porch and actually listen to that music all night long and just really enjoy and relax. It's able to let my mind a little bit, you know, think about things, calms my nerves, I guess you could say. It makes me feel relaxed. It's just something that I really enjoy. And that was just amazing what you two just did. That was just absolutely amazing. And I hope we get to hear a lot more. I'm really excited.
I didn't realize as much, or maybe I never thought about the spirituality of jazz too. And I think that is why it's so soothing. I see another one of our artist collective members, Robert Ketchens, who is a native of New Orleans. I see Dr. Greg Mason, who lived in New Orleans for a while. Any other comments from you guys?
Oh, she's just as wonderful as ever, and same thing with Dave. He's really good together. So maybe that's a new cut.
I think so. I think this could be the start of something great. Dr. Mason, did you have any comments? I know you.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was going to say it brought a tear to my eye listening, because having lived in New Orleans, and it reminded me of many evenings down on Frenchman Street, listening to this music and enjoying the people and the culture and just the air of it. And it really did. It brought a tear to my eye, because it was just so beautiful. It brought back so many memories of life in New Orleans, and just really enjoyed it.
So we need 2 road trips. We're going to Sesser and then we're heading to New Orleans. So there we go. All
I'm in.
right. Legacy was founded because in Southern Illinois, there are limited opportunities for arts and culture. We primarily work in Alexander and Pulaski County. And tragically, when money got tight for a while, we lost music education in our schools. So actually, Robert Ketchens is a co-founder of Legacy. So we work together to say, how can we bring arts to underserved communities? So this project has been a perfect fit for the mission and vision of what we wanted to do as well. So let's hear some more music. What do we have next in the queue?
So next up is When You're Smiling. And this particular one, I told John, we had collaborated on which songs we were going to do. And I gave him the key, but I gave it to him in concert key. But of course, I didn't relay that. So I had to do it in another key, which was a nice exercise, and I had said, basically anything Louis does is fine. And we really don't even do this song this slow. It's a fast song for us. So, it was a nice experience. It really and truly was. And I'm looking forward to hearing it myself.
Very nice.
That was beautiful. That was just beautiful. I see another member of the Artist Collective has joined us, Dr. Mike Faris. Mike, any comments or thoughts from you on this evening in the session?
Yeah, let me get my video set here, maybe. Deb's here too. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
This has
Hi,
been
Mike.
great. You know, these days we don't get much chance to hear clarinet. You don't hear much clarinet in popular music anymore. And what a great example. This is fantastic. John, great to hear from you. John Winey's my old friend from Shawnee. Great use of technology here with Lynn and John and Doreen working together to get this made. It's amazing. It's amazing. And I think probably just a few years ago, this wouldn't have been possible. I don't know that it would have been possible with the old Skype program. And but these days with some of these music programs that John's been working with and other people and Doreen, we've got this Zoom program here tonight that is just fantastic. And I feel fortunate, and Deb and I were just talking about this, how fortunate we are to hear this music that we haven't heard for a while, this kind of music, because you just don't hear it as much as you used to.
Thank you. Well, I thank you for those comments. And the other part of what we hope to do with the magnificent artists that are part of the Artist Collective is we are exposing them hopefully to new artists. And now that life is going back to normal soon, you know, we hope, we pray that things are going to get where we can have live music. All of these artists, not only the performers, but the visual artists as well, I'm sure would love to come to your city, your town, to your school. The unique thing about the Artist Collective that we put together is they're not only masters of their crafts, but they're also all educators. So they can talk to you about the cultural aspects, the historical aspects. So if you want anybody's contact information, you could, of course, reach out to us. And we're making sure that in all the PowerPoints, you know how to reach these magnificent group of people that we have put together in this collective. Also, this will be archived. So Legacy Training Inc. has a YouTube channel, and all of the presentations, if you've missed the others, will be archived, so you can go back, and you can also use them in your communities. If you can't get the artists there, show these programs, listen to the jazz, learn together, however you would like to use it. I failed to mention one of our programs was called Healing Through Hip Hop. And we had a young man named Callan Nanny, who is a magnificent hip hop artist, and we asked him to pair with a rhythm and blues artist, and they put together some fantastic collaborations. And that particular session was facilitated by Senator Dale Fowler. So we brought movers, shakers, influencers, because if I issued the challenge for the artists to do it, I had to step out of my comfort zone as well and reach out to these very powerful people, influential people, and say, hey, come on and let's talk about something that may be a little uncomfortable, but we want to heal and we want to talk and we want to learn from each other. It's never, ever, ever about bashing anybody. It's never about beat up on white folks or white folks shaming. It isn't that. It's about love, and that's our default. So again, I just want to thank you for having that same heart, Jason, and I'll let you say a few words and then we'll proceed back to the music.
Again, it's just an honor to be part of this program, this event right now. Seeing these two together, bringing all the music together that far away, you know, almost to one north part of the country and the southern part of the country. It's just amazing to see two great artists put this together. I'm just truly blessed and humbled to be part of this. And I see all these different people that have joined in and how popular they are. And it's just an honor to be part of all of these, be on the same program with all these great entertainers and artists. And it's just, like you said, Lynn, we need to try to bring more music and art and the different programs like that to Southern Illinois. We really need to try to do our best to fund that in our schools and our communities. So I'm just really looking forward to more of this. This is great and fantastic. I'm just truly honored.
Thank you so much, Your Honor. So now, Doreen, I think we have another number. Is it from you and John together, or John? What's next on the playlist?
Excuse me. Next is a YouTube clip from me playing with the Louisiana Philharmonic about 3 years ago. It's Just a Closer Walk with Thee, which I'm pretty popular. The song has done really well for me. It was my first, not this particular video, but me playing this song was my first viral video, which was absolutely amazing. So I think, I don't know, man, if I had to adopt another name, it would be Doreen, and somewhere in there would be Just a Closer Walk with Thee. But I thought, since we were doing, a collaboration between different races and cultures, and, we were talking about culture. If you look, this actually is a video, and if you look at the orchestra, it's, very diverse, which is totally different from when I was coming up. When I was in elementary school, my elementary school was less than a block away from the Municipal Auditorium, which was the place where the the New Orleans Symphony Orchestra, New Orleans Philharmonic, what was it? New Orleans, I don't remember. N-O, it's a shame, but it was where that orchestra performed. And it was really amazing for me because they would have these concerts where they would bus kids in to the auditorium to experience the orchestra. And when I heard about it, I was like, oh man, whatever. But when I got there, it was just amazing because I was this little kid. I must have been in 4th grade or 3rd grade. And we go to this big glamorous building, and we sit down and we see the orchestra, and there are all of these adults with tuxedos and long gowns, really serious about what they were doing. And they were dressed like it was a real concert, for kids, just for kids. And I just felt so special from that moment. And I don't know if that was one of those points where that made me want to do music or not, but it was definitely an influence. And, I say all of that to say, when I did go and see the orchestra, they were all white except for this one flute player, Mr. Harrison. He had a big, huge afro, and he was the only Black guy in the whole orchestra. And throughout the years, when I would go and see the orchestra, as I would grow up and do more of these programs, I look for him all the time. I like, hey, there, he's still there, Whereas now I'm an adult, and when I look at the orchestra, it's full of not only Black people, but Indian people and Asian people. And it's just something you just didn't see when I was coming up. So I thought, since we were talking about, the mixture of cultures and, music, cultures through music, that this would be a good clip to show. So there you go.
You won't believe your ears. I don't say this much. It's a distinct honor for me and for everyone on this stage to be sharing the stage with Doreen.
What an amazing experience.
Bravo.
Wow.
You go, girl.
The passion that you were given during that song was just absolutely just inspiring. It was amazing. I could just see the passion, and it's just absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Thank you
That
very
was
much.
awesome, Daisy.
Thank
You
you.
not only did you elevate the Louisiana Philharmonic, but you made me homesick.
That's awesome.
My mother was just saying all we need to be sitting here eating po' boys. Really, which that's the other thing. Doreen is a fantastic cook as well. So we're looking forward to some good New Orleans food at some point too. So it's
You
very
get
interesting to me, that jazz is such a uniquely American art form, but it seems like, in the black, I can only speak for me and my kids, and in the black community, unfortunately, our kids don't seem to know about jazz as much and appreciate it like we used to. So we have some work to do here as well. I want to throw out a quick plug that Caro is hosting a jazz festival, and I certainly hope that next year maybe Doreen can be part of that. But Harold Jones with the Fine Arts Center in Caro, Labor Day weekend, they're doing the second jazz festival, and then the next week will be a blues festival. So if you love live music, those are two opportunities here in Southern Illinois. But again, Jason, we can do a jazz festival in Sesser, and John and Doreen can come and do their thing, and we can just have a great time. So with that, I'm sorry.
That would be absolutely wonderful.
So Doreen, I'll be quiet because I think you've got more music for us.
Yeah, this is another collaboration with me and John. Put some blues tracks down, and we made it CC Rider.
Well, now say, CC Rider, well, now say what you have done. Well, you made me love you, but now your gal done come. I said you made me love you, but now your gal done come. Well, now your gal done come. Yes, she has.
Your video is stopped, so I can't see them. My video is stopped.
So John, care to share any comments from that? That was a fun tune.
Yeah, that one was just the fact that me and Doreen have run out of time, and I needed to throw something together pretty quick. And 12-bar blues is not that hard to pull together. So I just fired up the computer and threw down 12 bars and let it rip. I knew that she would make it into something. I just had full confidence. Lynn, I just wanted to say, and I don't know when to say or what to say, but I'd just like to share my heart a little bit tonight about how good this really is and how important it is. I've spent the last 2 years since I've retired back at Meridian, our home school, for the last 2 years trying to restart an instrumental program at that school where there hasn't been one for about 10 years. And I've started with a group of 4th and 5th and 6th graders. And now I'm starting this fall, my 3rd year with them. And we're looking forward to getting them out on the parade route, maybe next year, and do some concerts and stuff. But we kind of had the COVID in the middle of it, so it's been slow. But the reason that I did it was simply because I realized just how important that is to our communities and how that important that is to our culture, that we experience music somehow together, and how important it is for us to do that. I know all the things that it's done for me, and I just hate to see it. We're struggling from a really major teacher, especially music teacher shortage here in Southern Illinois. I'm actually working now at Meridian and Vienna High School, both of those before 12 o'clock every day, to hold those two programs together, hoping some teachers will come out of school soon. But we're struggling here in Southern Illinois, and it's a very unfortunate thing. And just a word about race and all that kind of stuff. I grew up, and we're, again, like you did, Lynn, and I had an experience where I was part of the very first class of integration in Pulaski County. When I became a first grader, all of the feeder schools, or the grade schools in the different communities here in Pulaski County, were all pushed to Mounds, to Thistlewood building. And my cousins had gone to the little school in Villa Ridge called Rife Memorial, and that was basically a community school. And really, there was no integration in it. There were no black. It was all just white kids. But it was right behind my home, so I saw that school, but I never got to go to it. And at first grade, when they bused me to Mounds. I rode a bus for 35 minutes as a first grader. It was terrifying. But from that point on, I was totally integrated into the Meridian school system. And honestly, it was the very, very best thing that ever could have happened to me. My best friends while I were in school were multiracial. I had people, because of my love for music, that I connected with immediately. I call him my mentor, though he's been gone for quite some time. Mr. Thomas, Stan Thomas, was our band director, and he was he was actually the second African-American instructor I had. I had a 6th grade teacher named Miss Irish that was so good to me and so wonderful. And then I got my time with Stan Thomas, and I would say he had a lot to do with me going on in music, although I can remember him saying time and time again, if you can do anything else, do it. But if you can't do anything else, then do the best, go for it with all you've got. And that's kind of what I did. But because of all of that experience, in these past years, or past couple of years, there's been a lot of this thing where you hear a lot of conversations about race and how different people groups don't relate well with other people group. And I honestly, Lynn, for the longest time, I just had my hard time wrapping my head around it, because I've always had those people in my life. I never thought, matter of fact, I was very poor as a kid. My mom and dad, neither one had a high school diploma. And they were, my mom finally got a job in the school district working as a secretary. My dad was a laborer and worked on HVAC and stuff like that. And we did a little farming. Honestly, I never saw myself any better or any worse than anybody else. And I think that a lot of times we talk about Southern Illinois and say how, rough it is and how difficult it is, but I'm very grateful for it because the whole racial equation was just taken off the table for me at a very, very young age. And matter of fact, I don't know where she's at now, but I can tell you my very first crush was with a little black girl in 7th grade, and her name was Vicky Bowles. And I was crazy about Vicky, but it was just one of those things where just race didn't figure into it. And I'm so thankful for that. And of course, I've also been a pastor for the last 25 years or so of my life, what I call a bivocational pastor. And, race is addressed a lot in scripture. And one of the things that I think sticks out is that God is completely interracial. He wants us not to be respecters of faith. I'm reminded of the story of the Samaritan woman at the well and how she was a Samaritan, and Jesus himself would have been from the Hebrew cult, nationality or whatever, and how they shouldn't have mixed, and how he gave us such a beautiful illustration that in the story of the Good Samaritan and all that, where race just shouldn't play in it. It's sin. It's wrong. It shouldn't be like that. And I look forward to a day when we can look back and say, it's just not an issue anymore, because I don't see colors black and white. I see brothers and sisters and friends and people that I haven't met yet. And that I've really enjoyed this because I got to meet a sister named Doreen through our music. And it's just been a hoot for me. I am in way over my head with her, and I am very, very proud to be a part of it. So I just want to have the opportunity to say that coming from my heart. So thank you for letting me speak those words.
Thank you so much. Very beautifully. And thank you for sharing your story. Southern Illinois is a very diverse community in a lot of ways. Pulaski County, we still are kind of separated a little bit because we have the northern part of the county that is white, and the southern part of the county is Black. And you actually lived in the southern part. So I was up there with all of the white folks growing up. But it was interesting, and unfortunately some of my challenges came from other Black kids when we integrated, because I didn't know the difference. And we had a question, I think with the Howard Hewitt event, where we asked, when did you know you were Black? And I had a very defining moment when I got called the N-word on the playground as a 2nd grader. And I had on white go-go boots with little pointed toes. And I kicked that young man just to make my point that I didn't know what that word meant, but I didn't think I wanted to be called it. And I got my first and only paddling in school. So I think maybe that's what has instilled in me, that sense of justice and lack thereof. But, it's very good that we can have these conversations, that we can be very candid, that we can share these stories. And that's what it's going to really take, I believe, for us to heal. This project really started with the George Floyd incident. We had another piece this week where the gentleman that was convicted of murdering him was sentenced. So again, as we have these conversations, and there were a lot of them, did he get too much time? Did he not get enough? Well, the amount of time he got is something called de facto life, which is a sentence that basically he's not expected to ever leave prison. So this was a very painful event, not just for my Black brothers and sisters, but for my white brothers and sisters as well. But again, that's kind of how Healing Illinois evolved, for us to have these conversations, acknowledge the pain, and figure out how we can address some of these issues together and look at some of the things in our society that we need to talk about and work together so we can really have a more equitable and just society. So anyway, that's my soapbox as well, and that's my story. I'd like to hear from some other people, and then we've got some more music. But are there other folks on the Zoom that would like to share or have some comments?
Lynn, I just want to say, you're familiar with our area. Myself growing up, there wasn't any African American. I'll just be honest with you, there was none. So it really it wasn't racist or nothing. I just didn't grow up around any African Americans. So it was not till I got older and started traveling a lot, getting around, especially when I start traveling and learning a lot. And it's been quite an eye-opening experience of of basically what the past, and I'm a big history person. So once I started reading and getting into history and just seeing some of the things and just everything that happened, and I'll be honest, I'm still learning. And it's heartbreaking. But what I want to see is that we continue to move forward as a nation and a world and fix the problems that we have and come together, because we all have everything in common. We're all human beings here. And I'm not the most gracious speaker when it comes to stuff like this, but I just share my own personal, that I've learned a lot, and I just want to continue learning how we can make things better, and just continue to work together to make this a better nation. And I was just reading. I've got this. I learned a lot. Where's my book at? I have a book here that it really opened my eyes. It said I got so many books. I read a lot. There was the one about the federal government and the how they did loans towards African Americans, even not too long ago. And it was
The Color of Law. Was it The Color of Law?
No, that's one of them. But this was actually this was actual report that was initiated by the federal government, and then they wrote a book on it. It was can't believe it. I literally have so many books that they're falling over each other. But it's just
I'm a book lover too.
Yeah. It's so. What'd you say?
I said I'm a book lover too, so we'll have to swap. What we're going to do, and Jason, thank you. I again, culturally courageous. That's you. We're going to post with our YouTube channel a resource list, and so when you find that, we can post that and share that with people that want to learn, to do a deep dive. I've been recommending that people read the 1619 Project, which was a phenomenally written piece of work from the New York Times. So if you've not had a chance to read that, it talks about how the institution of slavery is a part of every system in America, and especially the economic system. So fascinating read, a beautiful piece of poetry. So that's one of the resources that we're recommending. Any other comments before we get back to the music?
Well, I'd like to say that I too went to school with just Black people. I mean, it was just Black kids. Now, we had white teachers, but when I reflect, there was just Black kids. And I remember when I went to junior high school, there was this one guy that we thought was white, but he had an afro, so even today, I don't know, and he was a trumpet player too, but I was a seventh grader, so I had no voice to even approach him and ask. But even with that, racism and all of that other stuff, that's a learned thing. We don't enter this world being cynical of difference. When we're children, you see something new, something different, it's exciting, it's stimulating, you want to touch it, you want to know more about it. That's what's really inherent in us, that hate and stuff is taught, and it's a shame it's still being taught. But the thing is, through the internet and technology, the world is a much smaller place. So even though you may have the people in your household or the people in your town telling you lies and things like that, whereas before, when the world was sort of closed, it's all you knew. So of course you believed it, and you thought it was a credible source, and that's how you grew up, and you taught your children and all this other stuff. But the children these days, they're questioning everything. And that's promising because, like I said, when you see something different, when I hear a different kind of music, I want to check it out. I want to try and play it. I want to do all kinds of things. And that's what we should be doing. We should be, admiring our differences and trying to learn more about each other. And, I think like I said, with technology, that's going to eventually come to happen. I mean, my child, who just graduated, yay, from high school, her experience in school was totally different. She went to an immersion, a Spanish-French immersion school. So, I mean, her whole way, her friends, everything. I mean, and I think that's when I really start noticing the differences between her, schooling and mine. I mean, goodness gracious, hers was worldly. And her whole idea and everything around her is worldly. My child, she wants to go into the Navy so she can travel the world, and that's how she feels, and that's what she's going to do. And her, in her vision of the world is, explore. So I think there's hope for sure, and with music, I mean, our fans are of every race and everything, we have people with Trump hats, who just love us. We have, people who fight amongst each other, but they all come together around a performance. So, it's coming. Don't you worry. It's coming.
A little bit. Thank you for those very hopeful remarks. And you're right. As they say, a little child shall lead. So we've got, I think, at least one more song now.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us about this last number.
So this last number was supposed to be a collaboration, but John, you put a whole bunch of back instruments in there, and every time I tried to do something, it clashed. So I said, oh, well, I guess we need another song. So I just did this one a cappella, and it's When the Saints Go Marching In. But it would have been a collaboration, but, I couldn't do it. I couldn't make it happen. So just did it a cappella. So it's When the Saints Go Marching In. And I always say when we perform, I say, well, you ain't been in New Orleans or you ain't heard a New Orleans performance unless you heard When the Saints Go Marching In. So here it is.
Now when the saints go marching in, well, when the saints go marching in, said I want to be in that number. When the saints go marching in, now when the sun begins to shine, well, when the sun begins to shine, said I want to be in that number when the saints go marching in.
Wow, how you held that note. I was like, is it stuck? Oh my gosh, you held that note and then you could breathe and keep going. Oh my gosh. I am just amazed by your talent, my sister, to my brother John, just amazed by what you guys have brought to us tonight. Um, we are in wrap up mode. We've got 10 more minutes. Any final comments, questions? I hope everyone has enjoyed it, even just half as much as I have tonight. And I know we all have, but any final comments or thoughts about next step? You know, we've had these conversations, we've had these magnificent performances, we've had these great visual artists that presented us and educated us. Any thoughts about next steps or takeaways from this project?
Well, I would think that the takeaway is, and John talked about it, and Doreen, the universality of music that transcends race, gender, age, that it's a human thing. And that if we strive to do a better job of identifying the human thing, the things that bind us, as opposed to the things that divide us, then perhaps we can make real progress toward healing for everyone.
Well said. Well said.
And
Well,
Doreen?
I'd like to say, I mean, when I was approached about doing this project, I was like, oh, it sounds like fun, and as I got into it and the meanings behind it, I just feel so privileged. And, I want to thank you so very much for, making me a part of it, for introducing me to John and, everyone else that's on the panel. I tell you, I really and truly do feel privileged to be a part of it, because it's like you say, we ought to have these conversations, because even if it's not very comfortable, when you feel comfortable enough to share, and to expose your vulnerability and, your feelings behind things, it's I don't know, it's healing in one way, but it's also educational, for the people who are listening and the people who have similar feelings, and may not want to share. I mean, just through music, it's amazing how, you could feel really uncomfortable for about a second or two, and then the music starts and like, ooh, so, just if anything is learned from any of this, it's that, the music brings us all together, no matter what our political views, whatever, somebody turn on some music that we all like, we all, jam together. So, thank you again for making me a part of it. I really and truly appreciate it. Thank you, John, for, taking time from your busy schedule to put this stuff together. I really, really appreciate it, and you think you didn't, you say, you just put some stuff on a computer and stuff like that. But, if it were just like that, it wouldn't have inspired me to do, what I did on top of it. I mean, I felt, some heart inside of all of the things you sent. And I really appreciate you very, very much. Thank you too.
You made me look good, Doreen. Thank you.
We made us look good.
You ever get up this way, girl, I'll find you a band. I know a bunch of musicians up here, and I can pull you together a band right quick, and I'd back you all the way. I ain't lying. I'd back you all the way,
sir.
Absolutely.
Doreen, John, I just want to say thank you both for keeping the music going. Doreen, down there in New Orleans and all over the world that you travel, it's amazing. John, you know how it is here in Southern Illinois. We need more people like you to help us keep the music here. and keep it going and make sure that our children are blessed with having the music in their educational system. So thank you for all you do. And thank you, Lynn, and everyone that helped put this together. It was just truly inspirational on my part. And like you said, music is just a wonderful way to bring everyone together. And I will be in New Orleans soon.
You got to hit me up. You got to hit me up.
I definitely will.
All right.
Thank you, Doreen. You make me, after good music, we need to go get something to eat. We'd have to go over to Dookie Chase's.
Oh man, look, Dookie Chase's was good, but Doreen is better. And I love doing it too, so watch out now. I'm telling you. Yeah.
You're muted.
John, were you going to make a comment?
Oh, I don't know. I lots of thoughts, go around in your head. It's kind of human nature, and this point has been brought out, but it's human nature for us to see difference and see different. Anything that's different, whether it's money or it's lack of money or it's white or it's black or it's brown, or it's just human nature for us to see different. And I really feel like the point that Doreen's been trying to make tonight is that music is one of those things that connects all of our differences together. And I think dialogues like what you've been a part of in this project are one of those things where the more people talk about it, the more people engage with people that are different, the quicker our country will heal, and the quicker this focus on all of our different hopefully will be over. I kind of feel like Martin Luther King when he said, I've got a dream, and I have a dream. I wish everybody saw it like I see it, because it has never been a thing for me because of where I come from. And as a lot of times watching the news and stuff, it leaves me walking around scratching my head going, this is crazy, but it's crazy, but it's not really crazy because we're humans, and human nature is just full of crazy. I mean, it's just, but we can overcome it by conversations and by interactions. And, when someone that's different than you becomes your friend and you connect with them, it takes away all prejudice. And, again, I used to think where I come from was a deterrent, that it was kind of like when they said, Jesus, nothing ever good come out of Nazareth. Well, I kind of felt like a lot of times nothing good ever come out of Pulaski County. But as I'm getting older, I'm learning that some of the most important things I could have ever learned, I learned because of where I'm from. And I feel very fortunate today to say that this is my home, and it's helped me in so many ways that obviously other people don't get those opportunities, but we just keep pursuing it. And, I think I pray things will get better as we learn to treat each other like friends instead of like someone that's different. That's my thought tonight.
Thank you, John. Well, this has just been an amazing project. This has certainly put me in my happy space. I am never happier when I'm around artists, talented people. I don't have any kind of creative talent. I tease people. I said the only thing I create is habit from time to time. But I just love creative. Thank you. Robert got that one. So thank you so much for sharing your time and your talent. And also, we are going to do one more. It's totally optional, but we're going to bring one more conversation together. I'll get back with you about the dates and the times. It won't be a performance, but we just wanted to bring the collective back together. We had a few hiccups technically with the Howard Hewitt event, and with Rhonda and Ziana. So we're just going to bring all the artists back that can make it. I'll get you the date and the time. And we're just going to have a 1-hour conversation as artists, and where do we go from here, and how can we figure out ways to continue to create and collaborate. So I'll get back with you on that. Shout out and thank you to everybody that watched us tonight on Facebook Live. I noticed one of our Legacy board members, Julia Duff Thrower, is on, and Julia's an amazing singer. I just couldn't pull her into this project because she's working so much. But hopefully, as we continue and maybe we do something more with vocalist, Julia will be able to participate in that way. We have so much talent in Southern Illinois as well. So it's been a privilege to showcase that. With that, Jason, any final words? If that's all I have to say tonight.
Just thank you again. It was an honor to be a part of this, and I look forward to more of this. Like I said, there's got to be more of this to continue to heal and bring our nation together. So just looking forward to more in this, and anything I can be part of, I'd love to be a part of it because it's an honor. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll see you soon. Like I said, I've never been to Sesser, so I need to come. Anybody that would like to go up on the field trip and hang out with the mayor and enjoy some of that, the restaurant, what is the restaurant's name that they advertise on so much on television?
Probably the Anchor one that televised.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And I believe they serve po' boys, and it's like my mouth waters. So
yes.
I'm looking forward to that. And again, who would know that would exist? So kudos to them. And I wish them much continued success and prosperity with their business. So with that, it is 8:31 and our time is up. But again, thank you from the bottom of my heart to everybody. Amiel Russell, thank you so much, our program coordinator for this project. She's like the Wizard of Oz behind the curtains. She's been making sure all of the bells and whistles worked and everything ran smoothly, and just a brilliant young woman that I'm just so grateful to have in my life and have as a part of Legacy. Hello, Najar. I see you on as well. So with that, good night, everybody. God bless you. And I look forward to seeing you somewhere soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Till we meet again.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.